Hello friends, Pastor Chris here. I hope you're having a great day wherever you are. And I have as a special guest today with me, Linda Onsgard, who is a mental health nurse practitioner. And this is Mental Health Month. And so I thought it'd be a great thing to do to produce a small series on mental health issues and ways that maybe we can help each other and help ourselves, help our friends. And so I hope you'll find this series to be very informative. Now, Linda, mental health is something that it features a little more prominently than it used to in our social discourse. And I'm not sure all of us really understand what mental health is. So would you walk us through what it means to be mentally healthy?
Yes, absolutely. So important to pay attention to our mental health. And May is Mental Health Awareness Month, so it's good we're talking about this. To be mentally healthy, we want to think about the cognitive, emotional, and behavioral well-being in our lives, looking at our thoughts and our feelings and how we portray those and act out our life. If they're in balance, we're experiencing some good level of mental health. If we're handling normal stresses of life, we're probably fairly mentally healthy. Important to be connected to some kind of community, family, church, social group, community at large, because we're not meant to do life alone. And we need a place, and we need some people with which to share our stories.
Okay. Now, is mental health its own thing, or is it really like a subcategory of our physical health?
Well, we are pretty complicated beings, aren't we? We're made up of our physical selves.
Say that again.
We're made up of our physical selves, our mental selves, our emotional selves, social selves, and of course our spiritual selves. So we are all aspects of that when we think about whether or not we're mentally healthy.
Okay, well, now what would you say are the essentials of maintaining mental health?
Well, I like to think of it as a tune-up. You know, if we think about our cars, if we're taking good care of our cars, we're having tune-ups, we're getting regular servicing, and we need to do that with ourselves. We need to take inventory and ask ourselves, how am I doing in all of those areas that I just mentioned? If we find anything that's a little out of whack or just out of balance, then it's important to do something about it. And you know, in this pandemic world that we live in, once controlled problems in people's lives are sometimes now out of whack and imbalanced. And folks are finding that when things were going pretty good, all of a sudden now they're not going as well.
Is that why society right now seems pretty frayed? Is that what you would attribute that to?
I think to a large degree. And it's not only the pandemic.
Sure.
You know, politics and disasters and all kinds of things.
So, Linda, tell us, how does having a relationship with Jesus Christ, how does that help mental health, a person's mental health?
Well, I think it's everything. If we have that relationship, if we know God as a power higher than ourselves, and if we have that relationship with Jesus, it brings such a sense of peace, and it gives us purpose in life, you know, to answer the question, why am I here, and what am I supposed to be doing? And in that process, you end up with a much greater degree of wellness, I think.
Okay. If someone watching today were to just be able to take one thing away from what we've talked about so far, what would you have them take away from watching this video?
Well, first of all, I would say definitely pay attention to your mental health. Ask yourself how you are doing. And as I said, if you find some areas that are just not where you want them to be, then take some steps to do something about that. I especially would recommend, too, that we start or end or both our day with some gratefulness and think about, okay, despite all the things that might not be going that well, what am I grateful for? And really even sit down with a pen and paper and make a list. And then I think we can all also practice a greater level of forgiveness, especially during this time. We can give each other grace. We can support each other. We were not meant to do this life alone. And I'm reminded of a couple of scriptures, Chris, right now. One is Philippians 4:13 that says, I can do everything through him who gives me strength. So to work on our spiritual life and our connection to God is really important. And another scripture as well that I'd like to just read, it's in Colossians. It's in chapter 3, verse 16. And it says, let the word of Christ dwell in you as you sing songs with gratitude in your hearts to God. That is a little bit of an abridged version of that scripture. But if we let that word seep into us and we have community with each other and we are grateful, then our mental health is going to be in much better shape.
Oh, good. Very good words of wisdom. Thank you, Linda. And stay tuned. We will be producing some other videos on different topics related to mental health. We hope you can join us.